Chapter 81 Express Your Feelings. You are listening at novelfull.audio. To be honest, Qin Xue was touched at this time. Chu Molin said these words just to express how much he valued her. He is a man, and he makes the most commitment, especially when he says he loves her as she is. Then did he realize the difference between them, so he emphatically stated that it was this she he loved and not the other her that he loved. How could such a man keep her from being tempted? Qin Xue looked down at the man putting on his shoes with tears in her eyes and wanted to tell him that she was not his lover, tell him everything, but she can't, at least not yet. Chu Molin, how could I let you do this to me? A drop of tear fell on the back of the man's hand, and the hot tears scalded the man's heart. The man stood up and gently wiped away the woman's tears with his hands. He put the woman's head on his stomach, gently stroked her hair, and sighed softly. Women are really made of water. So I was moved. This also shows how insecure she is and how sensitive she is. You always want to leave him because you are afraid that he will find out that she is not the original her, right? He pulled the woman up and stood face to face, looking at the red eyes helplessly. He held her face in his hands and pressed his slightly cold lips gently on the woman's forehead. Qin Xue looked at the enlarged handsome face with her red phoenix eyes wide open, which had just been washed away by tears, making Chu Molin feel guilty for bullying an ignorant girl. Chu Molin reached out to cover her eyes and whispered, "Xue, close your eyes." Qin Xue slowly closed her eyes after hearing this, and gently hugged the man's waist. Chu Molin felt that it was not difficult to fall in love with someone. He held the woman in his arms and sat on his lap, touching his belly with his hands. Perhaps the child also sensed his parents' good mood and moved in the man's hand. Chu Molin thought this feeling was really magical, so he played with Qin Xue's belly with his hands. His hand moved to the side, and his belly moved again. After a few times, the man became more playful and moved his palm back and forth across his entire belly. Later, Qin Xue moved too much and couldn't bear it, so she took his hand away and stopped letting him play. Aren't you childish? You're still having fun. Well, does Xue think it's childish to be a husband? Chu Molin grabbed her hand and squeezed it. Well, a little bit. Children can feel our presence and can tell some of the surrounding atmosphere. There is temperature in your palm, and your baby can sense it as soon as you put it on it. You are having fun. It's not good for your baby to move too much, so you need to be more careful in the future. Chu Molin's eyes lit up when he heard this. In the future? Does this mean that I can hold my wife in my arms and take advantage of her from now on? Then there is no need to stay alone in the empty room that night. This is great, I'll start from tonight. It's such a happy decision. Chu Molin felt that his mental activity was very active, but he didn't know it. Qin Xue didn't mean to sleep with him on the same bed. Qin Xue makes him behave like this just because he hopes that he can interact more with the child, so that it can deepen and cultivate feelings for both the child and himself. It was also because Qin Xue figured it out and wanted to try to get along with him. After all, I have come here, and it is impossible to go back. Now that I can encounter a relationship, I just want to not let myself leave any regrets. After all, a good partner is hard to come by. It's Chinese Valentine's Day today. I was riding a bike during the day and my car had a flat tire. I almost couldn't stop the car and fell off the cliff. I was scared, and later on I was a little scared while riding my bike in the afternoon. So everyone who rides and drives must pay attention to safety. Chapter 82 I won't welcome you before you're born. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Molin grabbed Qin Xue's hand and scratched her palm. He buried his head in the woman's neck and took a deep breath, resting his chin on her shoulder. He felt that the years were peaceful like this, and his heart was filled with happiness. Qin Xue turned her head and looked at the man on her shoulder. She felt that such a day was not bad. She touched his handsome face with her hand. The child's father, let's go down for a walk. After Qin Xue said this, she couldn't help but laugh. Chu Molin looked at his naughty wife dotingly. Yes, mother, let's go. Chu Molin took his young wife's hand and went out. Qin Xue wanted to take his hand out, but the harder he pressed, the tighter his grip became. Qin Xue simply let him hold her, since she wasn't afraid anyway. It's just that in today's era, handles are not everywhere like in modern times. As long as he doesn't feel the impact is bad, she doesn't care. No one was seen all the way downstairs until the sound of footsteps came from the corner at the bottom of the building and the man let go of his Then place your hands neatly on both sides of your body. The soft face also became expressionless and even indifferent, comparable to the face changing in Sichuan opera. Hello, Deputy Section Chief. Wei Xiaohui held the clothes in one hand and greeted our Deputy Section Chief Chu with the other. It looked like he had just taken a shower in the bathhouse. Qin Xue looked at this tall and handsome man, with bulging muscles wrapped in short sleeves, comparable to Chu Molin. This is another sportsman. If it were in future generations, he could hold a Mr. Bodybuilding competition. Are all the men here so manly? Qin Xue was thinking while watching. Chu Molin noticed the woman's shining star eyes, his face darkened, and he stared at Wei Xiaohui coldly. Are you free? Go run 10 laps on the playground. Go now. The cold voice almost froze people to death. As soon as he finished speaking, he stretched out his hand and pulled away the woman who was almost drooling. Yes, Section Chief. Wei Xiaohui brought the clothes to the playground, put them aside and started running laps. The confused Wei Xiaohui ran and looked at the Deputy Section Chief who had walked away. He couldn't figure out what he had done wrong. Why was the Deputy Section Chief punished by running in circles? It seems that this bath was in vain. Poor Wei Xiaohui doesn't even know why he was punished, so he should just run around slowly. Qin Xue was looking excited when she was immediately pulled away. Qin Xue looked back at the man who was punished by Chu Molin for running a lap. Good looking. The man's dangerous voice sounded in his ears. Hee, it doesn't look good. Even if he looks good now, he can't recognize it. Even if Qin Xue is being slow, he still realizes that something is wrong with the man. Chu Molin looked at the duplicitous woman and looked down at his own figure. Who in this entire institute can compare to him? This woman doesn't look at him but stares at other men with great interest. Thinking of this, his face darkened even more, and he pulled the woman forward without saying a word. Chu Molin walked a little fast, and Qin Xue couldn't keep up. His stomach felt uncomfortable when he walked in a hurry, so Qin Xue simply stopped and couldn't walk. Why don't you leave? Chu Molin couldn't move and looked back at Qin Xue and asked. I'm not leaving. Qin Xue looked at him with red eyes. What's wrong? Are you feeling uncomfortable somewhere? Chu Molin looked at Qin Xue anxiously. It's all your fault. Why are you leaving in such a hurry? Qin Xue touched her belly with her hand and glared at Chu Molin. Well, it's my fault. What's wrong with you? Tell me quickly. Is your stomach uncomfortable? Chu Molin noticed Qin Xue's movements and put his hand on it and rubbed it gently. He also said, Baby, be good, don't make trouble with your mother, otherwise, when you come out, I will spank your little butts. Qin Xue burst into laughter after hearing this. How could this man be so cute? She was being hypocritical, and she was acting this way because this man was willing to pamper her. She had never thought about this before. Qin Xue grabbed the big hand that was rubbing her belly and said with a smile. Okay, how can you be a father like you? You want to spank your children before they come out, and you are not afraid that the children will not kiss you in the future. They dare, even if the child doesn't kiss you in the future, I can't make trouble with you. Chu Molin, why are you so nice to me? Aren't you afraid of spoiling me? Qin Xue intertwined her fingers with his big hand. Chapter 83 Walking. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Are you saying something stupid again? You are my wife. If I am not good to you, then who should I be good to? Besides, I am willing to pamper you to the point of being lawless, so that no one will treat you better than me, so that you will not fall in love with others and will never be able to leave me. Chu Molin looked at the two people's interlocked hands and said, well, this is a good sign. They are willing to take the initiative to hold hands with him outside, and all the unhappiness just now has disappeared. Chu Molin took Qin Xue to walk around the playground. After the fright just now, Chu Molin no longer dared to pull Qin Xue to run faster. He still remembered that he was a man and had to pay attention to the impact on his image, so he let go of his wife's hand and slowed down to walk side by side with her. Along the way, I also met many colleagues who were walking and greeted Chu Molin. Each of them looked like they had seen a ghost when they saw the two walking side by side. Is this man who asked Qin Xue tenderly from time to time if he was tired, if he felt uncomfortable, and if he was thirsty, their cold hell king Chu Molin? Deputy Section Chief. I looked up at the sky and didn't see the sun coming out of the west. Chu Molin glanced over coldly, and everyone was so frightened that they looked up at the sky and the ground but did not dare to stare at the couple. It was only after tonight that many people found out that Deputy Chief Chu was married. His wife was so beautiful and pregnant. The news spread throughout the institute the next day, saying that Chu Molin was very gentle and loved his wife very much. Everyone in the institute didn't believe it when they heard the news, because they all knew that their deputy section chief was married but not in a good relationship. So when Chu Molin went to work, he received the attention gift from the whole team. As a result, everyone worked overtime together. The whole team wailed, "Don't you just want to see if the deputy section chief is as gentle as others said?" The result is really gentle, but this gentleness is enclosed in double quotation marks. Of course, this is a story later. Return to Chu Molin and Qin Xue for a walk. Chu Molin, were you punished for being late for work this afternoon? Qin Xue asked the man next to her, looking at the two shadows stretched by the light. No, I am the deputy section chief of the battalion. Apart from the section chief and deputy section chief Su, I am the biggest in this half of the institute. Do they dare to punish me? I am the only one who can punish them. Thinking of the first thing he did after going to work this afternoon, he asked Li Debao to check on Qin Xue's injury. He would like to see the blind people who bullied him during his absence. If he doesn't teach these people a lesson, they won't even remember who he is. Anyone can come and bully him casually. Hey, our deputy chief Chu is so awesome, not bad. Qin Xue teased him. Xue, please speak up. I'm very capable. I won't punish anyone who can beat me. It's a pity that I'm the number one in the institute. Who dares to punish me? Actually, it was because every time he came back from a mission, he took a day or two off. Chu Molin wrote a plan because of some shortcomings in the mission. He was thinking about checking Qin Xue's injury again, so he went to work without taking a break today. Who would say anything wrong about him when everyone knew about it? Not to mention punishing him, he said this mainly to show his presence in front of Qin Xue, and he was completely teasing his wife. Okay, just bully me for not understanding your twists and turns and tease me. No matter how powerful you are, how can you, an ordinary researcher, disobey someone with a higher level than you? Isn't it said that everyone who comes here must obey orders as a soldier? So what you said is completely perfunctory to me. Qin Xue is not a woman who doesn't understand anything. How can she be deceived by him with just a few words? That's impossible. Daughter-in-law, can you save some face for me? The little wife is really surprising, she really knows a lot. No, you earn face by yourself and don't ask others for it. Qin Xue also followed his words and started talking nonsense to him. Daughter-in-law, you are so naughty. Chu Molin gently scratched her nose with his finger. I went to play at a friend's house today. My friend's house is on the top of a mountain. I was out of breath from climbing, my eyes were black, and my chest was tight. This was due to lack of exercise, so my friends, walking more is good for your health. Come on. Chapter 84 Flower Petal Bath. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Molin looked at the naughty and cute woman and thought, Qin Xue's gentleness may be just one side of her, she must be very lively inside, it was just that she had been suppressed and couldn't release it. Now she followed her and released it inadvertently without any pressure or precautions. That's good, isn't it? Be able to be your true self. Then do you like me? Do you like me like this? After asking, Qin Xue regretted it. Why did she look down at the ground as if she was courting? The unsightly man was afraid that he would show a disgusting look, so she missed the man's charming look. A dead man's smile. Chu Molin took Qin Xue's hand and pulled it a few times. Qin Xue raised her head and looked at Chu Molin in surprise, smiling so brightly because Chu Molin wrote in her hand, I love you. After walking around for 2 times, Qin Xue didn't want to leave, so she took the man's hand and went home. Chu Molin, I'm tired, let's go back. Chu Molin definitely had no objection. He didn't even notice the path he took. It's better to go back and rest early. You can spend more time with your little wife during your vacation tomorrow and the day after. Daughter-in-law, you sit down and rest, and I'll boil water for you to take a shower. When Chu Molin returned home, he pulled Qin Xue to a chair and sat down to boil water. In fact, Qin Xue wanted to say that there was no need to burn it, she could just go into the space to wash it, but she didn't know how to speak, so she just sat there without saying anything and watched the man busy. Daughter-in-law, you can take a shower now. I'll carry the water to the bathroom for you. You go get your clothes. Chu Molin boiled the water and poured it into a bucket to carry it over. Okay, you put some water in and boil it, and you can take a bath with hot water later. Qin Xue got up and went back to the room to get her pajamas. This time she got a set of white conservative cotton pajamas, but she didn't dare to pick up the black lace suspender pajamas, otherwise, according to the current development of their relationship, her man will eat her. My daughter-in-law, I just need to take a cold bath, not hot water. They have anti-freeze training, and they train in the snow without clothes on snowy days in winter. I'm not afraid of it in winter, let alone when the weather is hot now, and I don't need hot water. No, you have to use hot water to bathe. This will be the case from now on. You are still young and it doesn't matter. When you get older, you will know how powerful it is. Qin Xue objected, if you don't take good care of your body properly when you go out to do scientific research, you may have hidden injuries. If you don't pay attention, the pain will be bearable in the future. He was her husband now, and she would never allow him to treat his body with such a careless attitude. Hearing his young wife's concern for him, Chu Molin felt sweet in his heart. Okay, this is not a difficult task. It's just a hot bath. It's just that sometimes it's more convenient to use cold water. Now my wife won't let me take a cold water bath. Okay, I listen to my wife. Chu Molin took some more water and put it into the pot to boil. Qin Xue hung up her clothes and stood at the door waiting for Chu Molin to come in with water. Daughter-in-law, how about I help you wash it? It seems inconvenient for you to have a big belly. Chu Molin looked at the woman in front of him with a glint in his eyes. Go away, who wants your help? Qin Xue pushed the man out, then, after closing the door, add some spiritual spring water and mix it in with some peach blossoms. In an instant, the whole bathroom is filled with the fragrance of peach blossoms. After doing it, I pulled my hair up without washing it, and then started to take off my clothes and take a shower. After being nourished by the spiritual spring water in the past few months, Qin Xue's skin is white and tender, and it can't feel better to the touch. It was really comfortable to take a slow flower petal bath. I opened the small air window wider to let out the air, and put the remaining petals and water into the space. If she hadn't been afraid that Chu Molin would become suspicious, she would have gone straight in to take a bath in the pool, instead of bending up and down in the bathroom to wash herself. After getting dressed, he filled a bottle of psychic spring water and left an empty bucket for Chu Molin to fill with hot water. Since I have accepted him in my heart, of course I will give him a share of the good things. She won't be honest with him about the space, but she won't deliberately hide it either. Everything will develop naturally. Qin Xue checked that there was nothing wrong in the mirror before opening the door and going out. I suffered from low blood pressure today, and I feel dizzy. I wanted to take a nap, but my little niece kept calling me to give her a bath. I had no choice but to get up, mix a cup of sugar water, and then boil water for her to take a bath. Chapter 85 Wife's Goodness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Molin took a book and sat on the bench to read, waiting for his wife. Chu Molin read the book for a while, then closed the book angrily and placed it on the small table. He leaned back on the chair, closed his eyes and rubbed his temples with his hands. Hearing the sound of the door opening, he put his hand down and opened his eyes to look at the woman who had just come out of the shower. Her fair face was so cute and pink from the heat, like a red apple. Qin Xue opened the door and came out just in time to see him rubbing his temples, so I walked behind him, put my hands on his temples and massaged him gently, and then pressed all the acupuncture points on his head. Then he massaged the acupuncture points on his neck for a while before letting go. How are you feeling? Are you feeling better? After asking, there was no reaction from the man. When I saw that he had closed his eyes, he couldn't be asleep, right? I haven't taken a shower yet, so I turned to him and touched his handsome face. Chu Molin, go take a shower. After you take a shower, go to bed on the bed. Did you hear me? Qin Xue obeyed and said, go and take a shower quickly. Chu Molin bit the woman's shoulder hard before silently putting her on a chair and getting her clothes to take a shower. When hanging clothes, I found water in the bucket, and felt a comfortable breath, just like the water I took a bath with last night. I bent down and took a deep breath and smelled it. This smell was full of spiritual energy. This must have been given to me by women. The corner of his mouth curled up and he glanced at the woman in the living room before starting to take off his clothes and take a shower. I looked at the wound on my back in the mirror and saw that the wound that was originally red, swollen and slightly inflamed had begun to scar. It will probably take a day or two for him to heal properly. If anyone knew about this healing speed, they would definitely get excited. He had suffered an injury like this before, and it would take him half a month to get better than it is now without inflammation. But this time, even though it was inflamed, it only took 1 day and 1 night for the skin to become less red, swollen, inflamed and scarred. The only exception was the shower water last night and the water Qin Xue gave him to drink. And that peach blossom wine. Now the little wife has put a bucket of water here for him. The meaning of this is self-evident. He will not let down his wife's kindness to her, but he wouldn't ask her where it came from. Just remember to tell her not to take it out easily and let others find it. After all, no one is innocent but only carries a jade. If you think about it, you will know what will happen if such a good thing is discovered. Some readers told me that the format of my original writing was wrong and looked uncomfortable. I looked at it later and found that it was indeed my fault. I only did it for the convenience of my writing and did not notice everyone's inconvenience. Now I have revised it. Check the format. I don't know what the modified format is like. If you have any good suggestions while reading the book, you can give them to me. 1. I hope you all enjoy watching it. I am happy and please give your votes to 1. Thank you. Chapter 86 Washing Clothes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chu Molin took a combat bath in 2s and 2s. It was indeed a good thing. He felt relaxed all over. After taking the water and washing the clothes, he saw his wife's daughter-in-law putting them aside, so she washed them together. She didn't expect that there was anything wrong with him, a grown man, washing women's clothes. When Chu Molin washed his little wife's underwear, even his slightly dark face could see red. The underwear was a small brief, very small and sexy, unlike the wide and big ones that people wear nowadays. Big head pants. Qin Xue's underwear is not the white vest she is wearing now, but has 2 straps connected to the shape of 2 round bowls. At a glance, you can tell where the 2 semicircular bowls are wrapped. If Qin Xue knew about it, she would definitely reply to him, "Brother, this is called a bra, not a bowl." Chu Molin, who pitied us, blushed while washing his little wife's underwear carefully, thinking that his daughter-in-law must be very beautiful in her clothes. It would be nice if she could take a look. Qin Xue didn't know that the man was helping her wash clothes. Qin Xue thought of his injury and put a pot of spiritual spring water in the kettle, then put another cup in his cup and waited for him to come out and drink it before going to bed. Qin Xue picked up the book Chu Molin had just read and flipped through it. It was about military affairs. She closed it and put it back on the table after looking at it without interest. She looked at the time and shouted to the bathroom. "Chu Molin, when you come out of the shower, drink the water from the water glass on the table before going to bed, you know." "I know." Chu Molin responded after hearing his wife's words. He washed the clothes several times, wrung them out, put them in a basin, and waited for them to be dried on the small balcony. After hearing what the man said, Qin Xue went back to the room, took a medical book from the space, leaned on the bed, and started reading. Thinking that she would wash her clothes tomorrow, Chu Molin found a clothes rack to dry his clothes, looked at his wife's clothes next to his own clothes, pursed his lips and smiled. He turned around and picked up the water glass on the table and took a sip, his eyes brightening. Sure enough, it was the same water as the water he drank during the day. He raised his head and drank the water in the cup in one breath, then picked up the book on the table and entered Qin Xue's room. Chu Molin put the book on the table and sat directly on the chair in front of her desk to open the book and read. Qin Xue looked at the man's actions after he came in. She twitched her lips and moved her lips to say something. Then she glanced at the man and finally didn't say let him. Qin Xue continued to read her book. And Chu Molin saw that Qin Xue didn't drive him out and showed a successful smile where Qin Xue couldn't see it. The couple read quietly, without anyone speaking or disturbing each other. Qin Xue looked at Chu Molin again and again, but she didn't see that he wanted to go back to his room, so he continued to read his medical book. It wasn't until Qin Xue's eyes were sore that she wanted to sleep. Then she closed her book and looked at Chu Molin and said, "Chu Molin, it's very late." The underlying meaning is that it's very late, I'm going to bed, and it's time for you to go back to your room to sleep. Chu Molin looked at the time, closed the book and said, "Well, it's very late, it's time to go to bed." Even though he said that, he still sat there and didn't move. Of course Chu Molin knew what Qin Xue meant, he knew it from when she looked at her several times without speaking, but he didn't want to do what she wanted. Since he wanted to live with her, he would find the right opportunity to get along with her. How could he return to the previous state? So our deputy chief Chu cheated openly. Either sleep together, or let it go on like this and no one sleeps at all. Don't you go back to your room? This is my room. Qin Xue looked at the man pretending to be stupid and made it clear what she wanted to express. Chu Molin looked at Qin Xue resentfully. "Xue, we are husband and wife." What he meant was that we were husband and wife and should sleep together. His tone was so aggrieved that Qin Xue felt guilty, as if she had done something wrong. But according to the original person's behavior described to her by Fang Hong before, this man must have proposed sleeping in separate rooms. So what should we do in the current situation? But haven't we always slept separately? Chapter 87. You are listening at novelfull.audio. That's why my daughter-in-law needs to correct herself now. Do you think there are couples who sleep in separate rooms, right? And you see that your belly is very big now, which is very inconvenient, right? If we sleep together, I can help you if you have to get up at night or get something, right? Chu Molin started to set up a trap. It depends on whether our Qin Xue can take advantage of it or not. Qin Xue thought about it and Chu Molin said it seemed reasonable, so he agreed. As soon as the man got the woman's consent, he took off his clothes and put on his big underpants. Then he went to the bed and looked at Qin Xue. "Daughter-in-law, come down quickly, aren't you sleepy?" Qin Xue stared at the man's series of actions dumbfounded. Did she do something wrong? Why does she feel like a sheep falling into a tiger's mouth? So our Chu Big Bad Wolf wins again in this game. Qin Xue got off the bed and went to the bathroom before going back to the room to sleep. When she saw Chu Molin sleeping outside, she remained silent and said, "You should sleep inside, otherwise I will wake you up in the middle of the night." For a pregnant woman, as the fetus grows, the uterus will press on the bladder and the frequency of urination will increase, so she will get up once or twice to go to the toilet every night. Chu Molin already knew about this phenomenon through the sound last night, but he still chose to sleep outside and let Qin Xue sleep inside. "No, wife, I'd better sleep outside, and you sleep inside." Qin Xue looked at the man and said she wouldn't sleep inside. After thinking about it, she crawled in and lay down, bouncing tightly. The main reason is that Qin Xue is not used to sleeping with others. She has slept alone since she could remember. Later, when studying and living on campus, several people shared a dormitory, but each person had a bed. Now that there was an extra person around him, it was false to say that he was not nervous. Qin Xue looked at the ceiling and hinted to herself in her heart for a long time before closing her eyes and going to sleep. Chu Molin saw Qin Xue lying motionless. He turned his head and looked at her and found that her eyes were closed, but her body was lying upright and tight. It can be seen that the little wife is very nervous. How can she sleep comfortably like this? So Chu Molin moved closer to Qin Xue. Chu Molin turned sideways and watched her long eyelashes trembling slightly like fluttering butterfly wings. He tried to reach out and hold her head and rested on his arm, adjusting her to a comfortable sleeping position. He put his other hand on her belly and felt the baby's fetal movements kicking against his palm. "Daughter-in-law, are you asleep? Look, the baby kicked me. Are they talking to me or saying good night? Wife, do you know? It's great to be with you." The man's palm gently touched his belly. It felt so good. This is his wife and children. He also has a family. Qin Xue felt the man's caution, and slowly relaxed her nervousness. She opened her eyes and looked sideways at the handsome face in front of her. Babies feel that you are interacting with them, and they are greeting you. If you sing, read to them, or tell stories, they can hear it. This is what later generations called prenatal education. Really? They are so young and still know this in their bellies. Chu Molin thought this was incredible. Chu Molin saw that Qin Xue finally relaxed and stopped being nervous under his deliberate guidance. This was a good sign, and it meant that she was slowly getting used to him. Well, of course it's true. When did I lie to you? Well, my wife has not lied to me. Chu Molin thought, you have not lied to me, but that Qin Xue has lied to me, otherwise where would the child come from? Chu Molin, please turn off the light. It's too bright and dazzles your eyes. After speaking, he covered his mouth with his hand and yawned. Do you turn off the lights and sleep at night when I'm not at home? Well, I slept with the lights off. Qin Xue said drowsily, squinting her eyes. It's so dark, so how can you see it when you get up at night? What if you bump into something? Chu Molin thought that it would be inconvenient to get up at night when the lights are turned off and it's pitch black. What if she bumps into him and she's not at home alone? After waiting for a long time, she didn't hear a voice but heard a faint sound of sleep. This woman fell asleep so quickly. Chapter 88 Wife's Sleeping Appearance. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Looking at the sleeping woman, Chu Molin kissed the woman's forehead and gently opened his lips. Good night, wife. He tightened his arms and closed his eyes to sleep. In a daze, a heavy object pressed on my stomach, and my neck was squeezed tightly. I was so frightened that I woke up suddenly. Chu Molin lowered his head and saw that the woman was sleeping on her side with her legs bent up and pressing on his stomach, her hands hugging his neck, half lying on his body like an octopus. This frightened Chu Molin so much that he hurriedly flipped her flat to avoid pressing her stomach. After seeing that she was asleep, he closed his eyes and went to sleep, but I didn't sleep long and was woken up again. I was kicked in the leg and I thought I was being attacked. This wife was too dishonest in her sleep. Chu Molin sighed, put his wife down and hugged her. He clamped his legs around his little wife's legs and pressed them into the crook of her legs. This way, the little wife wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Her legs were also suppressed. She should be able to have a good sleep now. Come on, but Chu Molin overestimated Qin Xue's combat effectiveness. He didn't know whether it was because he couldn't sleep well during pregnancy or because he slept like this. Qin Xue moved and turned around all night, and later she kept touching her belly with her hands. Chu Molin felt distressed and put his hand on hers to gently rub it. Only then did Qin Xue sleep peacefully. Seeing that Qin Xue was quiet, Chu Molin slowly put down his arms and hugged his wife to sleep. Chu Molin didn't sleep for long at all that night, but he still opened his eyes the moment the whistle sounded. Looking at my little wife's frown, I covered her ears with my hands and watched her relax her brows before letting go of my hands. I quickly put on my clothes, washed up and went out to exercise. Although I had a day off today, I didn't plan to miss the exercise. It was already 7 o'clock when Qin Xue woke up, and the man who slept here last night had long disappeared. I found a lace-off shoulder maternity dress to wear. I left a small amount of hair on my forehead and braided it in a small braid. The hair at the back was braided from the top of my head and rolled up. It was refreshing and beautiful. After washing up, Qin Xue caught a fish in the space to make fish fillet porridge and sprinkled some chopped green onion on top. The snow-white fish fillet porridge was dotted with green chopped green onion, which was very beautiful. Think about Chu Molin, a grown man who has to go to work and exercise a lot. He eats porridge and makes some scallion pancakes without feeling hungry. As soon as the cake was served, Chu Molin came back and hung the clothes on the hangers on the wall. Chu Molin's eyes lit up when he saw his little wife dressing up. He had never seen anyone dress up like this before. It was very eye-catching. I have to say that our battalion commander Chu is still very open-minded. If Qin Xue knew about it, he would definitely say that this is called open-minded. This just exposes a little bit of the shoulders. Is there a wide cloth strap covering the shoulders? We're back. Do you want to take a shower and have breakfast? Qin Xue saw that his clothes were soaked with sweat. Well, I need to wash up. You can eat it yourself first. Chu Molin was afraid that his wife would be suffocated if she didn't wash off her sweat, so she found a set of casual clothes and went to take a shower. Qin Xue fried a cabbage some, then put 2 bowls of fish fillet porridge in a bowl and brought it to the table. She ate the porridge slowly with a small spoon. After only 2 mouthfuls, the man who went to take a shower came out. This was too fast. Does he always solve it quickly like this? Why are you wearing casual clothes? Don't you have to go to work later? It seems that people here don't wear casual clothes. They always wear work clothes every time I see them. Qin Xue thought that she had never seen his wardrobe, so she really didn't know if he had regular clothes. Now that she saw him wearing them, she realized that he did. Why don't you design 2 sets of clothes and ask Fang Hong and the others to help make them for him? I'm making 2 sets of suits and coats, so that I can change them when I go out. Daughter-in-law, have you forgotten, didn't I say yesterday that I would take you out to play today and introduce you to my friends? Chu Molin looked at Qin Xue and replied. Are you serious? Are you on vacation today? Qin Xue thought he was joking, but wasn't he? Of course it's true. Do you think I'm joking with you? The man raised his eyebrows and looked at Qin Xue. Qin Xue could only smile awkwardly when the man saw through his thoughts. Chapter 89 3 Tastes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Qin Xue put a piece of cabbage into her mouth and ate it slowly. After thinking about it, since he was not joking, she should bring a gift to his friend. It is inconvenient to take out the vegetables. The last time I planned to give Li Zhao and Hao wine, I took out 4 small jars. It's just that Chu Molin's reaction was too big when he drank it last time, so it's not convenient to give it away. Xue, what are you thinking about? Let's have breakfast quickly. Eating it when it's cold is not good for your health. Chu Molin saw his wife frowning in confusion and refusing to eat porridge. Oh, I was thinking about giving a gift to your friend later. There seems to be nothing to give at home. There is still some peach blossom wine you drank last time. Can you give that to your friend? This is the only thing I can afford at home. If I want to buy a gift, I can't buy it without a ticket. Qin Xue thought it would be better to ask this man. Well, I can give each of them a jar of wine. They are my childhood friends and grew up together. We have a good relationship. Chu Molin thought for a while and thought about his 2 childhood friends, who have a good relationship with him and have good character. If you are trustworthy, don't be afraid to give me some peach blossom wine. Okay, it's up to you. Do they want stronger wine or lighter wine? Qin Xue thought that she had 3 flavors of wine. Xue, do you have many kinds of wine? Well, it's not much, just 3 kinds. Qin Xue said, just take a lot. Xue, if you give this away, do you still have it if I want to drink it? Chu Molin thought about it and asked first, otherwise, if he doesn't have anything to drink after giving it away, then he won't give it away. This is wine made by his wife, he didn't even have to drink. He was nothing but a friend and could only stand aside. If his friends knew that he was worth less than a jar of wine, they would definitely yell at Chu Molin. Do you want to drink? How much do you want? Qin Xue asked weakly. After they drank that night, they never saw the man mention the wine, and they thought he didn't like it. Xue, do you mean that I can have as much as I want? Chu Molin's dark eyes darkened. Does this mean that his wife doesn't care about exposing her secret in front of him? Just like this fish fillet porridge, he knew very well that there was no fish at home, but now there was fresh fish fillet porridge in front of him. Well, it can be said that there are only 3 flavors available. It's only 400 to 500 kilograms, which is not a lot. Qin Xue thought for a while, there are so many peach blossoms in the space, she can have as many as she wants, that is to say, what she made last time was only about 400 to 500 kilograms. What? 400 to 500 pounds? Even the calmest Chu Molin couldn't help but exclaimed. Is this a century-old wine? She still said that, after all these years of turmoil, how many good things can be preserved? Probably the only one is the wine buried underground, but that is only possible if no one can discover it. This is not a small amount, and the young wife just means that she is not satisfied with the result. Can he say that he has found a treasure? Yes, is this a lot? Qin Xue didn't understand why Chu Molin was so surprised. She could do as much as she wanted. She was just trying to do it on her own, so she didn't do much. But does Chu Molin mean a lot? Xue, do you know how old the wine is? Chu Molin looked at Qin Xue and asked cautiously. Qin Xue wanted to say that this was just a month or two of wine, but how many years did it come from? But she thought that the speed in space was different from that outside, so she shook her head. Chu Molin knew this. Xue, although I haven't drunk any good wine, but with the same taste and purity as when I drank it last time, this is a century-old wine. There will be no such good wine in 100 years. So from now on, you can't talk about this wine to anyone except me, do you understand? And the water you gave me to drink cannot be mentioned to others, let alone let others know that you have it. Do you hear me clearly? Chu Molin looked at Qin Xue and warned seriously. Chapter 90 Advice. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Although Chu Molin didn't know where his little wife got these things, he didn't know how big her secret was, but once someone finds out, the life of his little wife may be in danger, so Chu Molin must take precautions before it happens and nip the danger in the cradle. Qin Xue saw the man speaking so seriously and nodded. Okay, I won't tell you if you don't let me. She wasn't really stupid. This man wanted to live with him every day, and he couldn't hide it even if he wanted to. That's why Qin Xue accidentally revealed some signs to him. The result made her very satisfied. Instead of prying into her secrets, this man was worried about her safety. Now Qin Xue was relieved. Chu Molin touched her head with his hand. Well, our Xue is so good. Qin Xue complained helplessly. Was this man addicted to touching her head? He touched her head from time to time. After the two of them had reached an agreement, they finished breakfast quietly and cleaned up. Qin Xue went back to her room and filled 6 small jars of strong peach blossom wine. Fill the jars he bought last time. According to what Chu Molin said, he has 2 young children here, each with 2 small jars, leaving 2 jars for Chu Molin. There are also 4 small jars of bland ones left at home, so I can send them away to Anan later. Chu Molin, how do I get this? Qin Xue looked at the 4 small jars of wine, which were not packaged and were not of high quality at all. Can I go find a place that makes porcelain and order some nice-looking jars? Chu Molin looked at it and found a few red ribbons. Qin Xue had an idea when she saw the red ribbons. Are there any more ribbons like this? Chu Molin turned around and took another handful. Qin Xue took it and started to weave it, making a kind of slip pocket. In the previous life, the merchants used bamboo or wicker to weave it, but now Qin Xue uses red ribbon to weave it. Not to mention, these leaky pockets woven with red ribbons look much better when you carry them. Chu Molin looked at Qin Xue's knitting technique, picked up a few red ribbons and squatted next to Qin Xue to knit them too. Qin Xue's eyes lit up after taking a look. If she was not mistaken, Chu Molin just started knitting after seeing her knitting technique. He learned it too quickly, and the knitting was so beautiful. Wow, Chu Molin can do it. What you made up is so beautiful. The man who received the compliment raised his eyebrows and glanced at Qin Xue and continued what he was doing. Chu Molin, let me ask you something. Qin Xue leaned towards him, looking at the woman approaching him. The man instantly became happy. What's the matter? Tell me. Do you know where I can buy medicinal seeds? Any kind of medicinal materials can be used, but of course it is better to have precious medicinal seeds, especially ginseng seeds, Polygonum multiflorum and the like, as much as you need. Do you know where to get them? After hearing this, the man thought that you must be the tapeworm in my heart. How do you know I have it? Chu Molin really does have this ginseng seed. It was given to him by an old man who helped him during a scientific research mission in the mountains last year. There was a ginseng at that time, but he refused to take it because he didn't know how to grow it and it was useless to take it, but the old man was not happy and felt that he had nothing to thank him for and had to give it to him. The old man said that he got it when he went to dig up medicinal materials in the mountains. Every time he found various seeds, he would collect them from his own family. Then he would collect the seeds and store them, as well as some other medicinal seeds. The old man's son planted some and gave the rest to him. He only took the medicinal seeds, not the ginseng. He remembered that his comrades had teased him at that time and said that he would no longer engage in scientific research and could sell medicinal materials as agricultural products. Chu Molin took it back and left it there untouched for more than a year. If Qin Xue hadn't mentioned it today, he would have forgotten about it. Wow, Chu Molin, you really do, that's great. When Qin Xue was happy, she lay on his back, hugged his neck, and kissed him on the face. Chu Molin hurriedly put his hands back to prevent the woman from falling. He turned his head and looked at it and said helplessly, "Be careful, you are going to be a mother."